took me 10 days to read. Mind you, it's 199 pages. My most recent one that I finished. How did this question come about? And why is this person asking the question?
Damn! I'm sorry.
Hey, welcome back to my channel. So as you know, I don't really do monthly wrap-ups or anything, but it is Sunday, it's my wash day, so I thought that I would do my hair and at least go over all of the books so far that I've read in July. So far I've read 6 books, and normally my hair doesn't take me that long. I do the bare minimum. I'm a one product type of girl. I was gonna be using As I Am. However, ain't nothing in there. Instead, I'm gonna have to use Curly Chick. I like to use gloves when I do my hair. This is about to get so messy. And I am sitting on a towel. I normally do my hair in my bathroom, but here we are. The first book that I started the month with was Blood Justice. This is the second book to Blood Debts. Now, it's been a while since I've read Blood Debts. I don't normally do a clean part, but I at least like to part it in half. Okay, so Blood Justice, I'm not going to go too much into plot because it does continue after Blood Debts. So if you haven't read Blood Debts, I'm not going to want to spoil it for you. For having not read Blood Justice in a while, Blood Debts in a while, going into Blood Justice, I was a little confused, but I think the author did a really good job at summing up when we needed information from the first book. Like, not all at once. He did it when you needed that information. And I just realized I'm going to have to talk slow because my hair doesn't really take that long. I start with my kitchen, my back section, because this part gets frizzy the fastest. I'm not a huge fan of this product, but it is what it is. For a sequel, I know sometimes sequels don't always go the best. I think typically when I read trilogies, the second book almost always is better than the first. But when you have a series of 4 books or more, the second book sometimes can be a letdown. For me, I think the second book went really well. I'm not sure how long it's gonna be, like how long of a series it is. For it being the second book, I think it went really good. I will say, I think because this book was longer than the first one, and it felt like there was a little too much detail in some areas. Some parts I found that I could skim it a little bit because I feel like we just didn't need that information. Overall, I think it was just a really good continuation of the first book. Next book I read was Soul Ties.
Soul Ties is crazy.
By Mia Monique. I think this is kind of like a prequel to her Life After Death series, which still only has 1 book in it, The Grim Reaper's Lawyer. This one was short, it was spicy. I'm pretty sure it's the same characters from The Grim Reaper's Lawyer, Aiden maybe, and Joy or Joyce. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't think it's a prequel to the first book. I think it would be like a half. So like book 1, this might be book 1 and a half, and then book 2 is going to be coming out at some point. But it was good. I gave it a 4-star. I wasn't going to give it a 5 anyway because it's just way too short. I read That Time I Got Drunk and Yeeted a Love Potion at a Werewolf. This is book 2 in the Mead's Mishaps or something along those lines. This is book 2. Book 1 is That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon. I definitely preferred this book over the first one. The first one, I think I did give it a 4, if not like a 3 something. This one, I did actually give a 4. I enjoyed this one a lot more. I was nervous because I'm not a person that likes that type of, I say this all the time, quirky personality that characters have. And it's almost always the FMCs. So I didn't know how the FMC in this one was gonna be personality-wise. She was funny, but I don't think she was as quirky as the FMC from the first book. It definitely felt dialed down a little bit compared to the first one. I enjoyed this one. I also enjoyed the plot more. So we have a girl at the beginning. There's this man, I think his name, it's not Felix, because Felix is the MMC. His name might be Jack. And Jack really likes our FMC, but of course I don't remember her name. He really likes her, and he ends up, she's not interested. He ends up getting her some kind of drink that has this love potion in it, but she doesn't drink it. She ends up eating it, throwing it on the werewolf, and he imprints on her.
You imprinted on my daughter?
She's like, well, wait until the love potion is out of your system, because he was trying to tell her, like, we're mates. I don't know what to tell you. It's not the potion, like, we're actual mates. And so she was like, well, just let's hold off on all of that until we find out if it is really true. And in the meantime, there were single women that were being kidnapped, and they didn't know what was going on. So they were also trying to figure out that. And it's also a continuation from the first book, not exactly, but they do mention some events that happened in the first. So I would suggest reading the first book before this one, but I don't think you have to. Overall, it just had the perfect amount of banter, silliness, spice. Now, as far as the plot goes, I'm not judging too harshly on it anyway, because that's not what I read it for in the first place. Okay, next, this I gave a 3-star. Say You'll Ride by Takora Monique. This took me 10 days to read. Mind you, it's 199 pages. It's a short, spicy romance. It just took me too long to finish it. I started it on June 30th, the last day of June, and I didn't finish it until July 10th. It started out really good. Honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't really remember the plot. Hold on. I need to read what it's about because I really don't remember. Yeah. So she left an abusive relationship. She's a dog, not a vet. I don't think she's a vet, but she cleans dogs. Oh, well, animals, dogs, something like that. But she ends up running into our MMC, who takes a liking to her, and it started out really well. He has 2 daughters, she has a daughter, and then at some point, I'm like, I don't understand what happened, but she ended up moving in with him because of something. It had nothing to do with the ex. It had to do with the guy's, the MMC's life, somebody from his life that put her in danger. So she's living with him. And what I didn't like, a chapter ends and it ends with she's moving in. The next chapter starts and then all of a sudden it tells us that they've been living together for like a couple of weeks or a couple of days. And I'm like, what? I just felt like we missed so much. Like, I understand it's a short book, it's gonna go by really fast, but I was like, what is going on? Like, I'm missing so much. I need to trim my hair. After I started that second half, I just kind of checked out a little bit. Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers. I gave this a 4-star. Now, I am very familiar with Jessie's work. I read so many of her books. So this is about an older lady named Vera Wong. She owns a tea shop. She lives on top of her tea shop. So when she comes downstairs one day, she finds a dead body. And she goes on the hunt for the killer. Now, I don't know who I would recommend this kind of book to, because it's everything that I kind of dislike in books as far as like that quirkiness goes. But I do still read it, but I really only like to read those kinds of books from one author. And that one author for me seems to be Jessie. So all of those quirky romances and other types of books, because this is a cozy mystery, I'm not, well, actually, putting my foot in my mouth, cozy mysteries, non-romances can get away with it because it's not a romance. But anyway, there is a romance in it though, like a little bit, very, very, very little. But anyway, so she goes on the hunt to try and figure out who the killer is. Now, I went in this book for the mystery, but I stayed for the found family aspect. All of these suspects of hers, there's a good portion of this book where they're literally just hanging out. She's with them so much, but we're also getting their POVs as well. So even though Vera Wong kind of is the connection between everybody, she's the one that brought everyone together. I love that we still got POVs of the characters individually because sometimes they would hang out together. And so I really loved that. At some point, I just didn't really care about the mystery. I do think the mystery part dragged a little bit because I was just really reading it for the found family aspect. But it does clear up in the end. Personally, I don't know how I feel about the ending, about the whodunit and the why. Without saying too much, I don't know how I feel about it. My most recent one that I finished is Out of Office by A.H. Cunningham. I ended up giving this a 3. And I'm just realizing I didn't actually do a review for it yet because I have quite a few thoughts that are all over the place. So I kind of wanted to film this video so I can hopefully get all my thoughts out. This is also in its own video, but that's not going to be posted till probably next week. We have a girl named Genevieve who is a workaholic. She is working in Panama and she ends up taking a 2-week break, and during that break she gets with her driver Adrian. I was saying Adrian because there's an accent on the A, but I don't know how that accent is pronounced, so I was saying Adrian. I'm gonna continue to say it. She ends up getting with him for 2 weeks. That was my biggest issue. I was under the impression that this was a vacation romance. It's short, it's like 280 pages. So that's kind of all I was expecting. The problem is the first half, we only get the vacation romance aspect is only 2 weeks. That's half of the book. The next half turns into a long distance relationship. The biggest turnoff was towards like the 70% mark. Mind you, they hadn't seen each other. So after her 2 weeks is up, she goes back home. She's there for a couple of weeks. Like, she goes back to work. And we find out that it had been a couple of weeks since they've spoken. Eventually it turns into some kind of long distance thing. And when they start talking again, they end up meeting back up. And without getting into the end of it, towards the 75%, 80% mark, we jump into the next portion of the book, right? That vacation romance, after it finishes, that's it. To me, that's no longer considered a vacation romance. After not too long of being together that second time, one of the characters asks the other a question. And that question, I remember I was on my lunch break when I read this. And I was like, how did this question come about? And why is this person asking the question? It just threw me for a loop because I'm like, that question, to me, it came out of thin air. I was just thrown off so much. I think it ruined the vibe of the book. And another thing that I didn't like is Genevieve, or Jen's mom, is not the best. And towards the end, there's a change in the mom's character, and that change literally came out of nowhere as well, because all of the scenes that we had seen with the mom were her being, you know, just mean and rude to the daughter, and then all of a sudden there's this change of heart that the mom has at the end, and I was like, that literally, where did that come from? I'm not surprised. I have read a lot of A.H. Cunningham's books, and at this point, I think she's a hit or miss author for me. This, I believe, is her first traditionally published book. I just don't think she does short books well. This, I don't know if I would call this a novella. I think it depends on the word count, not technically the page count. It's 280 pages. I would just say that's just a short book, not a novella. from all the books that I've read, a lot of the ones that I did love, longer than that. Yeah, I just didn't really enjoy this book like I thought I would and that I hoped I would. Still continue to read her books. I just know that, hey, maybe not buy them, because one thing that I hate is when I buy a book and then I read it and then I didn't like it or I didn't love it. Because, I mean, I'm not going to love every book that I pick up. I hope I do, but I'm not going to. Even though I did give it a 3-star, my 3-star for this book is a good 3. I have different kinds of 3s. I have 3 stars that I really just didn't know how to feel about the book. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. Then there are 3 stars like this one where it started out good, it got worse. I had so many highlights, so I did enjoy some of it, but at the same time, I just can't give it a 4-star. I am not done with my hair just yet. I don't like wet hair on me. So what I'm gonna do is, what I usually do, I will split this and then I'm gonna twist it away from my face. That's all the books so far that I've read for July. And I also wanted to kind of quickly get into what I'm currently reading now. I am reading my art copy of Sleep Like Death. I just recently posted about it today on my Instagram because it was my turn to post about it. This was sent to me from Bloomsbury. However, I got it through Coco's Chapters, maybe. A lot of books that I do get from publishers, it's through either Coco's Chapters or Biblio Lifestyle. Those are the 2 places where I get my books from. Oh, and HTP. So I did start this one. I was nervous to start it because I have read this author before, Kaylin Barron, and my very first book of hers is very similar to this one. This one is a reimagining. I don't remember which Disney princess movie it's a reimagining of. Sleeping Beauty, maybe? The one with the dwarfs, I think. The 7 dwarfs or something. Anyway, her first book, and I think it's her debut, but the first book of hers that I read was Cinderella is Dead. And I did not like that book. I think I gave it like a 3. I did read it physically. I own it. I tabbed it. It was, I don't know. I didn't know how to feel about it. I found myself just reading the words off the page, and I just overall didn't enjoy that book. I have read 3 other books of hers. The next one that I read is one of my favorites of last year or this year. I think I read it last year. It's her slasher one, You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight. And then I did end up reading her duet, her fantasy duet. It's a YA fantasy. This Poison Heart and This Wicked Fate, which I really enjoyed. I'm like, I'm gonna read this one. I'm gonna sign up for it and get it. I surprisingly am really enjoying it. I think, again, I can kind of only compare it to Cinderella is Dead because they're both reimaginings of something or twists on different Disney princess movies or whatever. I do think I'm gonna enjoy her horrors and her slashers and her thrillers and fantasies more than if she continues to do reimagining books. But compared to Cinderella is Dead, I am loving this one a lot more. Eve is a princess. Oh shoot, did I do this side? Eve is a princess, and in her world, in the world of the book, her mom is the queen. There's a knight that is evil. And one thing that the people of this book aren't really supposed to be doing is demanding things from this knight, making wishes, because you might wish for something and he's gonna literally give you what you want. The other mom, I'm pretty sure Eve's parents are 2 women. At least that's what I understood. So she has 2 moms. And one of the moms ended up wishing to have the loveliest voice in the land so that she could serenade her wife, so the other, Eve's other mom. And he literally gave her what she wanted. I'm not going to say what happened, but he literally gave her what she wanted. He has, again, some kind of magic, some kind of power. I think they described a lot of the people in the book, like the townspeople do have some kind of magic as well, but not like the knight and not like Eve. Eve, it sounds like she can do some kind of like wielding fire or something, and she is under the impression that it's her duty to take this knight down. As far as where I'm at, she is on this journey along with two other people, two guys that are going with her to find this knight and to take him down. Now where I'm at in the book, she has just found the knight. Now I know nothing's gonna come about it because I know I'm not almost done with this book, so I'm curious how that encounter is gonna go with the knight. But I'm really enjoying this, and one of the reasons why she actually went on this journey is she found out her mom, the one that is still like in her life right now, she found out that she was hiding something from her, and she's tired of this. That's why she's going on this journey to unalive the knight. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm hoping to read some more of it today. I'm very excited for the other books that I'm gonna read because, spoiler, but I am gonna be doing a video where I read books that I own. And I know that sounds dumb, like why am I excited? But it's because I've come to the decision that I'm going to, for the moment, do away with my book jar. Because one of the reasons why I hadn't been reading any of my books is because I wait to pick it out of my jar, but it's random. So sometimes I'm picking books that I don't necessarily want to read in the moment. And I don't know, there's just so many other books on my shelf, and it's like, why not just pick it off my shelf and read it? I'm not gonna throw it away because I'm sure I'm gonna like, I want to pick it randomly today. But the next couple of books that I do want to read, I'm just gonna pick it off my shelf. I am almost done with my hair. Right now I am taking the very back of my hair, like underneath my kitchen area, and I am twisting it because this underneath part of my hair is very, not sensitive, but I guess because it's on my neck, it gets frizzy very fast. And when it's wet, I don't like wet hair on my neck like that. So I just do two big twists because you can't see it anyway. And I just twist it about halfway. No clue what it looks like in the back. Let's see.
Damn. I'm sorry.
I'm definitely one of those people. If I can't see the back of my hair, I just don't care what it looks like. Again, this is not the best way to trim. I know. I just like doing it this way because I don't care. And I'm going to probably cut it again once it dries. I was supposed to this past week of how I wore my hair, but I just forgot. That's it for now. I'll let it dry some. I'm finished with my hair. Again, this hair is gonna last me the rest of the week. It came out decent. That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know down in the comments below if you've read any of these books, if you plan on it, or if because I kind of talked a little negative about them, now you don't. Let me know down in the comments below, and I'll see you next week. Bye!